What were we all doing at the age of 15? Most likely conceding goal after goal on pro clubs, attempting to and failing to buy WKD from Sainsbury's local, and getting put in detention for smelling everybody's socks. Oh wait, no, you lot weren't doing. Neither was I. I wasn't even close to. I'd never. Anyway. These days, though, at 15, you could be playing in the Premier League. Arsenal's Max Dowman and Liverpool's Rio Ngumoha have made headlines for different reasons this week, but all the same have been impressing at such a young age. Being 15 and playing in the Premier League feels crazy, and that's because it is. It's absolutely mental. It seems to be becoming a lot more regular. So why are wonderkids so young now? Ladies and gentlemen, football is back, and to commemorate that, so is So Rare 26. With a host of new cards for the new season, I'm going to be building a squad with 150 euros. First of all, we have to start in goal. There's quite a few options, but quite a few spending ones, okay? Jordan Pickford and Alisson are a little bit too much, so I've kind of settled down on Andre Onana. I'm joking. Please, you never have to settle for that. I'm actually going with someone else who's made a mistake recently, and that's James Trafford. Look, if Manchester City don't end up signing Gianluigi Donnarumma, this man is going to be their number one, and I do still back him to be a decent goalkeeper for them, especially for the price. It might end up working out. Then we get to defense, where there are actually quite a few really good options, the likes of Ryan Ait-Nouri, who's also just joined Manchester City. Mickey van der Veen is pretty cheap. Mark Gahey could get himself a move to Liverpool. I have gone, though, with Christian Romero as my defender. Spurs are looking really serious, especially after just buying Xavi Simons. I've got one midfielder, and that's Ebere Eze, who's just left Crystal Palace to go to Arsenal. Really good price and probably should be a starter for the Gunners. Then we've got two forwards. One's a bit more of a risk, Dan Ndoye, who started really well at Nottingham Forest. And then the big man. I've spent the big bucks on Victor Gyökeres of Arsenal. Now, I know what you're thinking, Niran. You didn't do your GCSEs properly. That is not 150 euros. Well, it is with So Rare's 150 euro welcome offer, which you can check out down in the description below. So you yourself could get this team as well. Make sure to join So Rare for a chance to win VIP tickets, football kits, meeting players, and much more. Afternoon, soldiers. I don't have anything to intro this, like, properly. Do you get me? I've not written a script. All I am gonna say is, though, I feel so old, guys. I'm not gonna, like, listen. I'm muting my own microphone, fam. I don't even know how technology works anymore. Either way, to try and make this unk somewhat happy, let's aim for 6,000 likes on this video. In fact, nah, fuck it, actually. Let's aim for 7,000 likes. Why not? And at 800,000 subscribers, I'm going to be getting a Liverpool tattoo. Like that shirt over there. Yeah, no, not that shirt. I don't want to say that live on record. So if you want to see me get a tattoo, then make sure to subscribe underneath the video. So Max Dowman came on and made his Premier League debut at 15 years of age as Arsenal battered Leeds 5-0. And he even won a penalty at the end of the game that Victor Gyökeres stepped up and took. He scored, it was 5-0, it was amazing. Meanwhile, the other end of England, you know, we went to Newcastle and we performed a smash and grab as Rio Ngumoha scored in the 101st minute, just 5 minutes after coming on. A fairy tale storyline for the 16-year-old, writing himself immediately into Liverpool folklore and becoming our youngest goal scorer in the club's history. All in the same week. This is bonkers. This is starting to get a little bit out of control. These guys are still going to school. Yeah, this is a serious issue. Imagine being a year 11, seeing Max Dowman pick up the ball at lunchtime. It's game over before he's even laced his plimsolls. His PE teacher will be fuming after being put in a washing machine and tumble dryer by a year 10. It's absolutely crazy to imagine these kids could have a life like that alongside playing in the Premier League regularly. The kid who nutmegged Max Dowman once on the playground back in year 9 will be wondering where his professional contract is. Meanwhile, I'm sure kids in the Liverpool area will be gassed to see Rio Ngumoha come on midweek in the Champions League so they don't have to face off against him in the year 9, year 10 El Clasico. Bro, Max Dowman wasn't even alive when Barcelona beat Manchester United in the Champions League final. He wasn't even alive when Andrea Arshavin scored 4 goals against Liverpool in the Premier League. He's probably never consciously experienced Manchester United being good at football. That is crazy. His entrance point is them losing to Grimsby. I can't believe it. It's unfair. Like they're being selfish because me as an unk, bro, I'm having a nervous breakdown watching these kids do a craziness in the Premier League at the age of 15. My dad just looked at me and sighed because I didn't make it. It's Project Dowman and Project Ngumoha at this point. If your child isn't doing elasticos age 6, I'm sorry, it's over. Get them to play tennis instead. They're not gonna make it as a pro these days because you have to be on it from day one. I'm gonna be explaining to my child what a mazala is before he has his blackcurrant fruit shoot and Dairy Dunkers in the morning. I don't even know why he'd be having Dairy Dunkers in the morning. Rio Ngumoha's 70 rated on on FIFA probably, and he can't even buy GTA yet. He's getting escorted out of game for trying to buy Call of Duty because his shooting's good. Max Dowman got an assist for winning the penalty against Leeds. He's not even on fantasy football. These are sorts of levels that we're dealing with in terms of like the outright outlandishness of this situation. And I'm not even taking the piss. I know I'm making jokes here. I'm saying this is like incredible in an actual incredible way. Borderline outlandish behavior. Because we could go down the route of these guys are just hella young and laughing and joking and whatever, but it's not even just raw ability. These guys have a tactical and fundamental understanding of what they need to do within a system and a team at their age already, and also the confidence to just murk everybody, bro. Newcastle could have genuinely left Matt Target in whichever country they were in pre-season duty because he got put in a dishwasher by Max Dowman. The FA have to rip the Emirates off Dowman's shirt for Arsenal because he's not old enough to get on a flight without parental guidance. As for Rio Ngumoha, of course, he saved us last week when he scored that 101st minute winner against Newcastle. We bottled a 2-goal lead against the 10-men side. Though Newcastle fans flipping off a 16-year-old, that might need police intervention, not gonna lie to you. He'll be packing his lunchbox and ready to intervene and save us when we bottle a 2-goal lead again next week. And speaking of which, actually, himself and Max Dowman, they posted about each other on Insta a lot. They seem like they're really good friends from playing for England together at youth level. They could be playing against each other pretty soon. You know, Arsenal, as I'm recording this video, Arsenal haven't played Liverpool yet, but as you're watching it, it probably has happened. And there is a high chance that they actually meet each other out on the pitch. Alongside Ethan Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly for Arsenal as well. That's not a football match, bro. That's a youth centre. Arsenal will be copping 3 Happy Meals for these guys to run to the canteen with.
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large.
But the crazy thing is that's not even what's happening because they're so mature, they're so confident, they're so tactically aware. We can't even treat these guys differently, despite their age, because they deserve to sit at the senior squad table. It's actually unbelievably impressive, especially given their pre-season performances as well. Max Dowman was great for Arsenal in pre-season, and Rio Ngumoha looked class as well, scoring against the likes of Athletic Club, for example, at Anfield. But should we even really be surprised? I mean, one of the best players in the world right now is literally a child as well. Lamine Yamal was like 16 for about 3 years straight. That man had Gianluigi Donnarumma syndrome, where he just didn't age at all. But he burst into Barcelona's side, came all the way through La Masia and was getting so much game time at the age of 16, to the point where he's now, I think he's still 17 at this point, and we're talking about him winning the Ballon d'Or. Like, there's actually an argument that a 17-year-old is the best player in world football. When has that ever happened before? My mistake, he's 18. He turned 18 last month, and he has now played over 100 times for Barcelona at the age of 18. Fam! 108 appearances for Barca, 26 goals and 37 assists is insane. His hamstrings are gonna look like tofu that's been left in the bin for 6 weeks by the time he's turning 28. No, but genuinely for real, like, he's so unbelievable to watch, and the kid's genuinely unstoppable. Like, that performance against Inter in the first leg of the Champions League and in the second leg as well will go down in history. When all is said and done and Lamine Yamal's career is looked back upon, that will be a game that everyone goes mad. He was that good for so long. It will be like a pivotal moment in footballing history, genuinely. And I hate to say it, he is kind of Messi-esque in that regard. When you've got guys taking over the world of football and they're wearing braces, you know it's a madness. You know it's a crazy, crazy world that we're living in. And also, he's actually got personality. I see people hating on him already, and that always happens with young players that show any level of personality. But I think he's actually almost relatable. Obviously not relatable to any degree because he plays for Barcelona and is a millionaire while still being in year 12. But he is relatable in the sense that he kind of acts like his age. Like, he is that sort of like just laughing and joking with his teammates, kind of just finding everything funny, usually with Rafinha, and he's doing bottle flips and shit. He definitely just scrolls through TikTok for like 4 hours a night, and I doubt he has a provisional driver's license, honestly. What I'm saying is, you know, we've almost been, you know, conditioned, I guess, with the rise of Lamine Yamal to start expecting this from young players. I mean, as I said, the guy's played over 100 times for Barcelona. He's got 26 goals to his name. He's broken into the Spanish national team. He's won the Euros with Spain. He's made 75 appearances in La Liga. It feels like the guy's been around for ages. I mean, his card for FC26 got leaked the other day. He's going to be 89 rated with 90 dribbling, 86 passing, and 85 pace, allegedly. I don't know if that's true. 89 rated rated, bro, as an 18-year-old. He's gonna get to like 183 rated on career mode, and those numbers aren't possible, fam. And his achievements, as I mentioned, absolutely crazy. He's won La Liga, he's won the Euros. You know, he's going to be a legitimate contender for the Ballon d'Or at the end of this year. And the thing that I'm trying, I guess, to kind of convey in this video is that's not ever been the case. Like, I was about to say that's not always been the case. That has never been the case in footballing history. If we kind of look at, you know, I guess maybe you could throw Pele into that because he was young when he was playing at the World Cup for Brazil for the first time. But generally speaking, right, certainly in the more developed era of football, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but it is true, like since the 70s and the 80s and through to the 90s and the 2000s, generally speaking, we've had a pendulum swing from, you know, you can be very young because you can have raw talent like Pele and just be immediately incredible because there isn't quite as much to the tactical area of football at that point. You know, now through to the 70s, 80s, 90s to the 2000s, suddenly wonder kids are getting a bit older. It's very difficult to break through at that sort of age naturally, to now suddenly a point where it's happening regularly. And the thing is, like, if you compare him to like Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, these guys had barely played any football by the time they were turning 19. Cristiano Ronaldo a little bit more because he was at Sporting, which was probably a little bit of an easier team to break through into as a teenager, but Lionel Messi was really only starting to make a dent on the footballing world at like the age of 18, right? And Lamine Yamal's just arrived there and he's already played 100 times for Barcelona, won the Euros, and could win a Ballon d'Or. The only real comparison in terms of players in like the last 30 years is the South American contingent, but that's the only reason for that. The likes of Neymar is because at a domestic level, again, no offense at all, it's just the truth, the Brazilian and Argentinian leagues, for example, just aren't quite as strong as England, Spain, Germany, France right now. So you can be 16 and through raw talent be just as good as the people around you. Whereas being 16 and breaking into Manchester United starting 11 or Barcelona would have been unheard of until like the last 3 or 4 years. There are of course exceptions, the likes of Wayne Rooney, who famously burst onto the scene for Everton by scoring a banger against Arsenal, and David Seaman for Everton. Sergio Aguero was probably about 12 when he made his debut for River Plate, but again, this is in South America. But if we look at the youngest used players in Premier League history, right, the top 3 are taken by 15-year-olds, and they all made their debuts within the last few years, right? The first of which is Ethan Nwaneri, who was the youngest of them all at 15 years old, 5 months and 28 days. Max Dowman's actually older than he was at that point, so Max Dowman slots in at number 2 at 15 years, 7 months and 23 days. And then in third place is Jeremy Monga, who made his debut for Leicester, in case you don't remember, very briefly at the end of last season. I think it was when Leicester had already been relegated. So he was 15 and 8 months and then 28 days. After that, we got Harvey Elliott at a point which he was still at Fulham, so that's about 6 years ago when he was just 16. Another Fulham player in Matthew Briggs, then Izzy Brown for West Brom, Aaron Lennon back in the day for Leeds, Jose Baxter for Everton, Russian Hepburn Murphy for Aston Villa, and Gary McSheffrey back when Coventry were in the Premier League, right? So in fairness, from 5 downwards, we do start going back into the past. I mean, Matthew Briggs, I think, was like 08 sort of time. Izzy Brown, is that Isaiah Brown? I actually don't know who even, is that Isaiah Brown? I'll keep it about 50. I didn't even know he played for West Brom. I thought he was just a Chelsea guy. But anyway, okay, so him, that was in 2013. Aaron Lennon was ages ago, right? Like 20 years ago. Jose Baxter, like 08 again. Hepburn Murphy, probably like 2010 sort of times. And Coventry haven't been in the Prem since like 2001. So Gary McSheffrey was ages ago. But the top 3 all being from like the last couple of years, and then Harvey Elliott as well being kind of recent, does tell a bit of a story. And if we look at world football, like a lot of the youngsters that are around right now also broke in or broke onto the scene at big clubs very, very early. You know, in terms of 18 or below, you've got the likes of Esteval. Again, came from Brazil, but he's already making a bit of an impact at Chelsea. Lamine Yamal, we've spoken about in great detail. Pau Kubasi, another one at La Masia. Whilst these guys did kind of have to be thrown into the deep end a little bit because of Barcelona's financial restrictions, they were still good enough and are still incredible and still broke into Barcelona's starting 11 at the age of 16, the pair of them. Ethan Nwaneri, who we've mentioned, Giovanni Quenda, who was like 16 playing for Sporting, Miles Lewis Skelly, a little bit older from last season, Mastantuono was, you know, back in South America, Rodrigo Mora for Porto. It just feels like a lot of young players are making their debuts earlier and like actually holding down places in the starting 11 a lot earlier as well now. And it's not just at domestic level these guys are getting promotions. I mean, Lamine Yamal, as I mentioned, has been playing for Spain for a decent amount of time now. The FA just had to like make a special requirement to try and get Max Dowman into England's under-19 squad at the age of 15. This guy's been playing like 4 age brackets above where he should be. And even this week he was being compared to Lionel Messi by someone else who had a similar career path in the form of Theo Walcott, who broke through very early at Southampton and then went to Arsenal and even got called up for the 2006 World Cup, I think it was, at the age of 16. Fast-tracking young wonderkids has existed for a while, but it seems like it's a lot more consistent now. Now, I've got a theory, and to be honest, I think it's a pretty simple one, and it's kind of what I touched upon earlier when it comes to Dowman and Ngumoha, in the sense that they look the part because they fit into the system and understand tactics already. Again, I'm gonna sound like I'm just shitting on the past. I am the biggest nostalgia merchant of all time, yeah? I wish football was still like it was in like 2004. That was like the pinnacle of all football ever. What I'm trying to say is football was amazing back then, but it definitely wasn't as methodical as it is now. I think you saw it first with like, well, not first, but you saw it probably first with Barcelona, actually. In the UK, you probably saw it first with the likes of Manchester City, where players are getting promoted, especially once Pep Guardiola had gone there, like Phil Foden, like Oscar Bob, who are almost intrinsically already Pep Guardiola style players. So as soon as they become of age to travel anywhere almost, they understand the style of play that they're going to get asked to do when they arrive at the senior squad, and it's to a very high and very tactically astute level. These guys aren't arriving going, oh, yo, I'm sick at football, I can ping one from 35 yards and dribble past my man, and I'm quick. But some tactical awareness that means that when they arrive at 16, they don't just have technical ability or physical ability, they have the full package. It almost brings down the age gap dramatically. The one thing that always meant a young player would perform in comparison to an older player back in the day was experience, right? You can have all the raw talent that you want, you can have all the raw pace that you want, it'll get you a certain point and it'll, show that you're an exciting talent. But when it comes to decision making and, what to do in certain situations in a game, when you need to time waste, when you need to press, when you need to do this, when you need to do that, when you need to drop back or whatever, you won't know the situations to do that in, and you're less effective because of that. Someone with experience, someone that's 32, will be better at doing that and therefore is a better option in terms of choosing them in a starting 11. Now, Max Dowman and Rio Ngumoha know as much of that as the guys that actually play in a starting 11. And that's what's making them so effective straight off the bat. At this point, now that we've unlocked youth coaches actually teaching like these youth talents the tactical side of the game to the degree where they can step into a senior squad at that age, I don't see that changing. I think we are just going to get wonder kids getting younger and younger. Obviously within reason. I don't think we're going to see 12-year-olds starting in the Prem anytime soon, because you still have to have had that physical burst. You've got to have hit puberty at the end of the day. A 12-year-old playing against Erling Haaland is only going to end one way. But once you've, reached the physical form, which you're probably going to have when you're an adult, I think honestly, as long as you've been taught the tactical side of the game and you've got the technical stuff to go along with it, you are good enough to play. That's it now. And it's such a crazy world because it just feels like back in the day, like an 18-year-old bursting onto the scene was early. And now we've got 15-year-olds playing for big old Arsenal, man. What a world. Now, though, we're going to turn to the FNG headquarters of scouting because I want to know who you guys think is next up. We had Max Dowman and Rio Ngumoha, and I'm not expecting you to go and watch the under-14s, yeah, because you'll get put on a register. But in terms of a wonder kid that you've seen that he maybe even plays for your club or in your league, or someone that you're excited for, drop it down in the comments section below. Maybe I'll make a video on the best wonder kids in world football soon, or in preparation for FC 26 coming out. There'll hopefully be some content on that when that game drops. And eFootball 2026 has just come out, so watch out for a video on that very, very soon. I've seen your comments, don't worry. That, though, is going to wrap up this video, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course, subscribe if you are new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @theofficialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye. Wow! Hey, yo. Bugs on camera, man. I don't know what he is, bro, but man's there, innit? Alright, bye.